Good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury's City Council meeting, July 6, 2022, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Joseph St. John.
Here.
Damon Capel.
Here.
Jim Goes.
Here.
Marty Knapp.
Here.
John Grumney is absent. David Martin.
Here.
Cindy Cooper. Here.
Fellow council members had a meeting on June 15th, and there are minutes for approval.
Motion to approve.
A motion by David Martin,
I'll second.
and a second by Tim Goes. Discussion? Roll call.
David Martin.
Yes.
Jim Goes.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. Marty Knapp.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Abstain.
5 yeas, 1 abstention.
Right. We're on the visitors section. Do we have any visitors that would like to speak with council this evening? All right. We're on the committee reports. Mr. Gross?
Yes, we just earlier this evening had our monthly parks meeting. We had a few topics of discussion. First and foremost was with Mr. Aaron Noblet. He's a tree specialist, as some of you probably know about around town. He's been around a while. He gave us a presentation quite detailed about Rosecrans Park and some of the invasive tree species that are over there that he's recommending that we do something about, take them out and get them out of there. So we're going to go ahead with our next step. I think Steve or Daryl is going to meet with Brad Gerwig and Aaron and do a walkthrough and drill that down a little bit further to determine what we need to do over there. So looking forward to that. We also did the, actually Mr. Hall with CT gave us an update on the trails, Fallen Heroes Trail and the reservoir. Things are moving forward there. And we had Mr. Piles tell us about the Morpsey project meeting with regard to updating the trail map. And we have a second workshop most likely planned in the near future. Those are we did one major item too. I'm sorry, the master planning discussion. We beginning planning on what we want to do next with regard to the next park project to tackle. It looks like it's most likely going to be J.R. Smith, but we still have a lot more work to flesh out there. So see how that goes.
Anything else? Mr. Ghost?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Capel.
We had a very productive services committee meeting just before this. I'll hit on the highlights here. Street sweeping project due to start the end of August. One of the things that we need to make sure to do is to reach out to the public to take caution while the street sweeping is going on. So to that end, flyers, social media, etc. Touched on the street maintenance program. Brick repairs are due to start July 18th, tentative completion around August 12th of the whole program. And in addition, we started looking towards 2023 and future planning for the streets program. Talked about possible need to increase our spend when it comes to streets to help us secure OPWC financing, as well as just generally keep up with the overall maintenance and pavement condition as we go forward. Wastewater treatment plan, talked quite a bit. Wes brought us up to speed on some of the plans for maintenance and upgrades to the facility. So we want to move soon on a planning and design loan. And if we start soon on that, we might be able to look at moving to a construction loan, looking into one as of August 2023, which after an estimated 15 to 18 months of construction would put us up to a potential 2 million gallons daily capacity by December of 2024, which is a fair way down the road. But that would add an estimated 800 plus thousand gallons capacity a day. Then finally, we wrapped up talking about stormwater utility as a potential funding mechanism for the sewer challenges that we've been facing recently, and some of the potential upgrades and fixes that we need as far as stormwater remediation goes. And that was about it.
Great update.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes, the Planning and Zoning Commission had a meeting on July 27th. Mr. Gross already alluded to what it was about, and Mr. Kyle spoke about it earlier, but we met with MORPC, Delaware County Regional Planning Commission, Preservation Parks, Health Department, and they brought us a large map of the trails that we already have, and they pretty much just let us go at it, look at it, and they gave us some suggestions of where they thought maybe trails could go and what potential problems we could have, and it was just a big planning session. So it was kind of fun. It was good.
So did you mean June 27th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
I was just wondering because July 27th is still a couple weeks out.
Yeah. last month's meeting.
Okay.
I have a question on that. Did we get the MORPC folks our updated trail maps from Rolling Hills and Price Ponds?
Yeah, those were transmitted
Awesome.
in the beginning of the project
Okay.
through the OneDrive. So,
Okay.
yeah, I noticed some of those didn't.
Yeah, they just weren't represented there.
Translated, yeah.
And I was going through some of the plans and I saw the developments are going to have several trails, and it'd be great to include that in the maps. Awesome. Thanks. Anything else, Mrs. Cooper?
Not for a committee report.
Thank you. Mr. Mark. All right. Mr. Neff.
Nothing to report.
All right. Good deal. We are on to, we're going to skip the police report tonight. I'm going to give the police report. I'll
Do
just say
it.
this.
Do it.
The police reported no significant incidents all weekend. I think that's something really to be proud of for our entire community. The broader Big Walnut community. I think it goes into great planning and great people participating in great events. So I just want to say a big thank you to the police. When everybody else is having fun, they're having to hold the crowds back, especially during the parade. And they did a really good job with that this year. And fire department too, right? EMS, the whole first responder crews, I think everybody did great all weekend. So that's all I have. The administrator report, Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. My report was provided earlier in the week, not too much earlier in the week, but it was provided earlier in the week. I just wanted to note also a thank you to PD Services, BSTNG, EMS, Chamber, and the administrative staff for many, many hours. And some of them are volunteer hours. Many of them are volunteer hours that go into throwing an Independence Day big old party. And that's only half of it. Like any party you have at your house, then you got to clean up afterwards. And so we're in the process of cleaning up, getting the materials that we use and getting them ready for storage so that they're available next year. But I very much want to thank everyone for their efforts there. And then the only other thing I wanted to add was with the Lions building yesterday, I had a chance to meet with the Lions and Ron Dane, who is a local architect, to go through the building, look at it. It's in better shape, carpet's out, trash furniture's out, trash is out, and
you can kind of get a notion of what it could potentially be. He had some great ideas, and we'll be coming back to the Lions with some specific recommendations. And then the other item that's on my list is the annual report for impact fees. That starts with a memo on page 20 of your packet and goes through page 24. As you may know, we use the 20 city annual national average data from the Engineering News Record, the construction cost index. We have the opportunity to raise our impact fees based upon that construction cost index. And it's 8.46% that could potentially be raised this year, and I would recommend that to you. And then you have the details of where we got money from, where it went. We did use some money in PD for some radios and some firearms that were needed due to population growth and just staff growth. We also last year used $51,000 to purchase the corner property that's going to become a future mini park and parking lot, similar to what we, except larger, to what we have on the other corner of the square. And I'll take any questions you might have after you have an opportunity to read that.
This is routine. This is not anything to do with our impact fee study that we've been working on over the past year and a half.
That's correct. When I arrived a couple of years ago, I found you were getting an annual report, but I tried to enhance that and follow the ordinance more fully. And then also the idea of you can do annual increases based upon the engineering fee pattern. So that's what I do right around July 1st. And I think
Do you need our approval on this?
I think actually I'm allowed to do it, but I would certainly appreciate if you would concur with my recommendation.
Would you like us to do that now or wait until?
You can do it now. I don't think it's on the agenda later on. So if you want to go ahead and tackle it now, you get a motion and a vote to.
Is there any questions for Mr. Piles on what he's doing here? I think most of us have been through this in the past, and this is kind of an annual increase. It's based on trusted metrics, in my opinion.
It's a very detailed report, and yeah. I make a motion to accept it or approve it. How do we go about that?
I would make a motion to accept and approve.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept and approve the administrator's report.
Second by Mr. Capel, first by Mr. Martin. Discussion? Roll call.
And really, before you do the roll
Sorry,
call,
go
I think the motion is technically to accept and approve the administrator's report relative to the impact fee annual increases due to
The 20 city national
the
average.
20 city national average.
Okay.
That's the portion of it that you're really approving. The
Thanks,
rest of it was great too.
thanks for those words.
I get it.
David Martin,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Jim Goes,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Maureen Neff,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right. You have anything else, Mr. Piles?
I don't know if I mentioned it in my report. The governor did announce that Delaware County is going to be awarded $500,000 for demolition grants, and our grant is part of that. They kind of, the planner that's working with Delaware County said that there may be some tweaks that they come back from the state to Delaware County with, but it's moving along to success at this point.
Work. Thank you. Anything else for Mr. Powell?
You had one item here, Mr. Piles, on the McDonald's variance. It's going to be heard by BZA. What is that variance about?
They want to increase the frequency and, well, they want to lessen, how to describe this? Right now, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved for them many, many years ago that they could have 4 messages on their message board. And the concept was one would be a breakfast message, a midday message, a dinner message, and a catch-all message. They would like to have more messages and change them on a more frequent basis.
Do they want to change anything with the flashing aspect or stuff like that? How it appears?
No, they said they will not animate it. It's just, but if they're changing that message every 30 seconds, it's
Flashing.
kind of moves along pretty quickly. So that's the rub of what they're, and they said right now the sign that they have is outdated. They need to take a little controller out to the sign to change the message. So in practicality, someone has to come out to the sign, plug in, and put in a new message 4 times a day. They want to upgrade the sign, but they also want to use the sign at greater capabilities in terms of more messages more frequently.
And I was on the zoning commission when they put that sign in originally, and they wanted to have a very animated sign, and we didn't want something that at that intersection to be so distracting to people driving by. That was the reason that we voted it down, so.
So the BZA will hear that.
They will, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
There's nothing else like it, I'll tell you, like in the city that I'm aware of, right?
There's a couple time and temperature. There's one time and temperature. The Methodist Church has one that maybe has a couple messages on it. The storage, Cutler's new storage building, used the McDonald's sign as leverage to go, you've got them in town, so therefore I can have 4 messages a day that rotate every, 6 hours.
We approve that?
Now, I approve that based upon their precedent that we had.
And so Wendy's, that's just still, that's not electronic. Is
No,
it? It's just that
it's still a manual,
Man.
put up the letters.
letters. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they haven't, have they approached us about?
I haven't
Changing
had
that?
anything from them on it.
Okay.
Anything else for Mr. Piles? All right, we're on to the engineer's report, Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Report is updated. I'll just mention a few things, mostly with the private development work. Magnolia Park, we are looking at some administrative revisions to the approved plans there. The wetlands have kind of expanded in capacity there, and some of the lot lines and the trails have slightly altered. So we're working through that with Pulte Homes to do an administrative approval on that, and that will be moving forward. The Car Wash USA project is officially completed and closed out, so that commercial site is done. Newman Roofing, just on the commercial sites, I was gonna touch on those real quick. So the Newman Roofing, there's some landscaping to be completed there, so we haven't issued the final completion on that one. Vantage Logistics, that is completed and closed out. So we're doing a little housekeeping there to get things closed out, make sure everything's completed. Price Pond Section 1 final plat is on the agenda for approval this evening. We've been working hard with Pulte Homes in the county on several things there, which we'll go over when that's ready for a vote, but we are recommending approval on that. It's 3rd reading. And there is emergency language on that. So we'll go over that when the ordinance comes up for a vote. And if you have noticed, there's quite a few residential plot plans on the list. Most of those are from Rolling Hills, but quite a few being approved. So things are moving. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions or comments for Mr. Hall? All right, thank you very much. We have no resolutions tonight. We're on to ordinances. Third reading, ordinance number 2021.49 is going to remain tabled. We're on to ordinance number 2022.24. The third reading, tabled from 6/1 after the third reading. An ordinance approving the execution of a grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency.
Need a motion to take it off the table?
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Mr. Martin to take it off the table.
Second.
A second by Mr. Murray Neff. Discussion, roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
A motion by Mr. Martin on the emergency. Second by Mr. Neff. Discussion, roll call.
David Martin,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper. Yes. Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on ordinance 6.1.2022. Second.
I think we're on ordinance 2022.24.
Wait a minute.
You're right, skip down to the table, Dave. Go line up.
One up from that, the top of the page, right there.
I know, but there's nothing written there. What's the ordinance on?
The page break is in a strange place. It may be at the bottom of your previous page.
Here we go. I'll show you.
On the computer,
I know, but
we're
there's nothing there. That's what I'm saying.
oh, on the computer version, it shows it's 2022.24 is the ordinance.
I know it says ordinance 2022.24, but there's nothing at all written after it.
It's below it.
On the next page, probably below.
An ordinance approving the execution of a grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources declaring an emergency.
So what is tabled 6/1/2022?
That
That's a
means you
date.
tabled it
That's
on
a
June
date.
1st,
That's
2022.
that's a date. That's
I'm
just a date.
sorry. Gee whiz.
That's, it looks like an ordinance number.
I had to work all day today and I'm not used to that, so.
It was a long 4th of July weekend.
Motion on ordinance 2022.24. Second. Sorry. Jeez.
Second by Murray Neff. Discussion.
Just want to report that the two things and why we put it on the table that we asked them to reconsider, they had a map that basically encumbered not only the reservoir where the improvements are being made, but both reservoirs on our property that we own along the street all the way down to the corner. And because this is a grant for park purposes, the language says you'll continue to use this property only for park purposes. Well, we didn't want that restriction on the rest of our property, so we asked them to remove it, which they did by substituting a more appropriate map. So they made that change. That was request number one. Request number two was they had a restriction that we would only use this for park purposes, and the language was a little bit broad and or vague, however you look at it. We wanted to specifically have an agreement with them that we could extract water from those reservoirs as long as we maintained the park feature in the future, because that isn't necessarily a recreational purpose. And again, water is water. Look out west, it can be a big deal. It may be here someday. It may not be now, but it may be 10 or 20 years from now, it could be a big deal. So we wanted them to be able to do that, and they specifically allowed that with the revised language. So that's what you're voting on. They made both the changes that we requested, so we're happy and able to move forward tonight.
Any discussion on that? Dave Martin officially made his first mistake ever.
David Martin,
Yes.
Murray Neff, Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes,
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
motion passes. Still on third readings, ordinance number 2022.31, an ordinance accepting the final plat of Price Pond subdivision, section 1, and declaring an emergency.
I can give a swing at this and then others can fill in.
Thank you.
You're approving the final plat. You know, when property is subdivided, the way you do it is you make a plat, which is
survey drawing that shows all the lots and so forth. This is the first phase of Sunbury Meadows Section 1, otherwise known as the Price Farm. Again, we've got Pulte that's going to be the developer of that. We've got a long history with them. It was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So, and then it moves forward to council for final approval. Between that approval and the conditions that they approved it with are in the ordinance, we've done some more work collaboratively with Delaware County and with the developer, as well as the property owner and their representatives. Kudos to Wes Hall and CT. They really took the bull by the horn. Specifically, this particular section of the development had an access road, Millstone Drive, that was going to go out onto Cheshire Road. It was going to access Cheshire Road just north of Mrs. Price's homestead. So if you know, when you're going to Cheshire Road, Mrs. Price's and going northbound.
Golf course, right?
Or Golf Course Road, when you're going northbound, Mrs. Price's house is on the left. And then you've got 500 feet or so before you get to that really strange intersection at Cheshire Road and Golf Course, where there's a through one way and a stop sign the other way. Wes Hall reached out to the county. We have always contemplated in that development the golf course and Price together, and it's a bunch of homes out there, but that intersection needed to be improved, but it's within the county. So Wes got collaborative with the county, really fast tracked a bunch of meetings, got the county's input and commitment to install a roundabout intersection at that location, which will be tremendous for the safety and the access and for that development in general. We had to have discussions with the developer about that because Wes and I had conversations. He said, you know, we're going to do this roundabout. And if you can picture it, and we can show up a photo, and it's one of the exhibits on there, if Kathy can get that up. A roundabout has the, you know, the octopus arms coming off of it. Well, the octopus arm to the east was going to be 500 feet north of the access road to Millstone. And the access road to Millstone can't stay there with that octopus arm to the east. It's not safe. It would be very non-engineering rated as from a traffic perspective to have it there. So Wes got with the developers and the county, again, got the county's commitment to build it. The county says, we'll build it, we'll pay for everything that's within the county. But what's within the city, you've got to have commitment to do that. We met with the developer, got the developer's commitment to non-perform part of the improvements that the octopus, the interchange will fix anyway.
Page 46.
That being Golf Course Road to the south.
You got it.
So they're not going to fix up Golf Course Road, because when the county does that, that will be accomplished by the roundabout itself. So that saves the developer money. And they're also going to build Millstone to a temporary stand. So instead of putting a bunch of permanent things that are just going to get torn out, like sidewalks, curb and gutter, you know, a deep permanent road base, really thick pavement, we're non-performing some of those items to give them cost savings. And they're going to put those cost savings toward that eastern leg that's partially our responsibility. So really a win-win, a bunch of collaborative effort. I mean, honestly, I'm very surprised that this much work was able to be accomplished. It's a big credit to Wes that this happened. But a bunch of meetings, a bunch of buy-in. Again, another collaborative effort with Delaware County. They've always been a good partner and continue to do so with this. So we have now incorporated those changes into the ordinance. So now technically, from a procedural standpoint, planning and zoning approved it. You now are accepting the planning and zoning conditions, but with the additional modifications that we put forth in this document. Specifically, if you look at the screen, the eastern leg of the roundabout, the box, the red box right above it, that's one of those big electric towers.
To the right, Steve.
It's going to wind to the south of that. That eastern leg is what we're going to construct. The developer, so that we have control over where that leg gets put and how it happens, is now going to dedicate that entire section, that entire quadrant, that lot.
Page 47, the yellow.
Of the subdivision to the city. So we will own that lot, but there will be a specific agreement with the homeowners association that they will maintain it at no cost to us. So again, the developer just said, that way you can control where that road goes and we don't have to replat things later on your property. So that's a change. And then it also sets forth the agreements that I referred to as far as the cost contributions from both parties. The fact that the millstone will be conducted or constructed in a temporary fashion. As a little side note, they're probably going to move their permanent entrance feature to development right where the intersection is now of the new octopus off of the roundabout and the temporary millstone, just so they don't have to move all those things in a couple of years. The county's committed to potentially even a 2024 construction of this. If you've been in some of the newer roundabouts in the county, especially on some of these older intersections, and this is one of the squirrelier ones you'll find, they're really nice. I mean, they look nice, they function well. This will be a big improvement to that area, and, we're really happy to be able to bring this forward as a change from what zoning had, but as a positive change for the residents and so forth. So we are at the end of the process. This has had 3 readings. The developer is just beside themselves with everything that's going on with supply chain and cost of materials. They said, we really got to get started. We've got to get this platted so we can get these started on our roadways, get our spec homes up, and start servicing the needs, which are pretty significant for people wanting to buy homes in this area. So glad to answer any questions. Wes, has the technical details, and I'm sure there's part of this that I've missed, but I think that'll give you a general understanding of what we're doing and what's different. But administrative staff has reviewed it, and we're all supporting its passage tonight.
You want to add anything, Wes?
No, Dave did a great job there. Thank you, Dave, for, the credit that's going to be issued by Pulte for non-performance on a portion of Gulf Road on that southern leg of the roundabout. And if you want to point out,
They were included from the first year's property.
so that'll be now a credit for that section of
When they say non-performance, in other words, cost savings that are going to be deferred and used for something else.
Golf course road is being improved all the way along where the golf course used to be, which Mr. Romanelli is developing that piece. It's being improved along Mrs. Price's frontage. And from there up was going to be improved, but when they do the roundabout, that'll get done anyway. So we don't need to do that now. That'll remain unimproved until the roundabout goes in, which again, the county originally had this forecasted 4 or 5 years out. Now they've really stepped to the plate. They recognize the need and the collaboration involved, and they're looking to do it fast track it, 2024 or possibly next year.
Cool. Mm-hmm. We'll give Pulte a lot of credit. Back even in January, I remember meeting with Matt Callahan, and I think Joe, you may have been in that meeting where, we were talking with Berkshire Township. They're saying, hey, the road's getting beat up. And we said, just please work with us, on timing. Pulte's going out of their way. They're improving a stretch of land of property that they don't own. It's outside of the jurisdiction of Sunbury, and they're paying for that. The part that's going to remain in Berkshire Township. That's shows what kind of company Pulte is. This was somewhat thrown at Pulte in the 11th hour. It's all good. It's not going to be in for a couple of years, but it's a big investment by the county. To Dave's point earlier, A+ effort by CT, Pulte, the county, our staff to pull it all together. We know Pulte's ready to get homes out of the ground there, and we're happy to work with you. Any questions on this? All right. I believe we're looking for motion on the emergency.
I'll make a motion on the emergency.
We got a motion by Mr. Damon Capel.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Tim Goes. Discussion? Roll call?
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on ordinance 2022.31.
Motion on ordinance 2022.31.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tim Goes. Discussion? Roll call?
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Also want to give Dave Parkinson a little shout out. Every once in a while I reference an email from him that's got all the detail. At the time, I can't read all of this, but when I need to go back and find the detail, it's all in there. So Dave, if you're watching. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Joe. All right, we are on to second readings. Ordinance number 2022.01, first amended, an ordinance amending the 2022 annual appropriations. All right, no first readings, and we are on to new and unfinished business. Let's Avenue Repairs contractor selection.
I think based upon the discussion and services, we'd like to defer that for at least another meeting or so to have a little more consultation with Dale and strategize so that we're investing our money as best as we can.
Okay, great. All right, we're gonna go do an unfinished business. I'm gonna start with Murray Neff.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Mark?
I'm gonna cry. Monday, I got to watch the BST&G do the fireworks. 2 years ago Monday, BST&G were out my house, making it safe. And I'm so grateful for what the police department and the fire department in this community do. I just have to say thank you.
Second. Yeah. Spot on. Well said.
Agreed, Dave.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I was planning on thanking PD and all them and services, but you guys have already said that. So just a shout out to the chamber and the Big Walnut Civic Association. They plan for these events months in advance, and it's all over in one. It's like a wedding every year. It's so much work on them. So it doesn't go without being noticed. And this year, since we have an events committee, we have invited both Civic and the chamber to come to our events committee and talk about it and see what they enjoyed, what they would like to see happen differently next year. And we're hoping to get a little bit more of a collaborative effort here with the city. So looking forward to that.
Excellent. How did the fireworks go? I was not able
They
to
were
make it.
beautiful.
Loud and long and beautiful.
Yeah, that's the best I've seen is Sunbury. They do a really good job.
Good deal.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Mr. Capel?
I don't have anything tonight.
Mr. Gross?
Nothing further.
I want to echo what many have said. I just want to say a special thank you to the chamber, the Big Walnut Civic Association, also our staff. I know what a strain it puts on you, Kathy, Steve, Brad, Dale, chief, police, everybody. I mean, it's a total team effort. The business community in the area, the different nonprofits and just community organizations that come out and do setup and take down and help with the trash. But as with anything, you know, there's the few that, you know, things end with, and some of those folks in this room. So Kathy, I really want to say a special thank you to you.
I second that.
Yeah, that makes me want to cry. Just how much you do and how much you care. Cindy, Nancy, Donna.
And Daryl, how much time you spent out there working, getting ready and helping put it all?
I saw Daryl at 8 o'clock in the morning on a gator.
And he was here the night before. Yeah, thank you so much.
And I'm just so proud to live in this community, and I had a lot of family in this weekend.
Hi, Becky.
And just, you know, seeing them, you know, cry as they're going through the parade and sharing moments and saying, this is what, you know, isn't shown on the news all the time. And this is what America is. So I think it's pretty awesome. Very proud to live here. The last thing I wanted to say is, you may have heard that Jeremy Buskirk has put in his resignation as the school treasurer. I just wanted to say publicly that Jeremy was a pleasure to work with. We've had very challenging discussions. We've had very forward-thinking discussions. True asset to the company he's going to go work for. You know, I trust that Big Walnut leaders will you know, select a great replacement, but Jeremy is really one of a kind. He's not leaving the community, and he was a great guy to work with, honestly. Wish him the best. That said, is there anything else from staff or council? All right, I believe we have the need to enter an executive session this evening per Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G2. To consider the purchase of property for public purposes, the sale of property, or competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Second by Cindy Cooper. Discussion? Roll call.
St. John,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Maureen Knapp,
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
David Capel.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Need to invite.